Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Detroit Sports Sit Down. My name is Tom Murphy Jr. I've got Joe Perry, I got Dan Murphy here with me, and we are thawing out right now. We are thawing out. We all three of us were able to dig ourselves out of the snow. Snowmageddon for the first time in a while, and the sports, man. So it's post Super Bowl. Football's over, and it's time to start thinking about some other sports. And it's mid-February, and it's college basketball time. If that's your thing, a lot of people only care about basketball in March. Well, we're giving you your 2-week ahead of time preview here because myself.
They play basketball before March?
They do. They sure do, man.
Oh, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Myself, I'm a college basketball guy, man. I started watching college basketball in October, man. Like November. Man.
October?
Yeah.
What?
Man.
That's football season.
I'm watching, man. Well, late at night, when
okay.
Like when I can't watch any, when I'm never burned out of football, but when I need a little break from my football stats, I'll go over and see. Well, what's the lineup looking like for Michigan? What's Michigan State looking like? Hey, what's new this year? Is the Big Ten going to be good? Ooh, who's doing good? Who's not? Man, I start that in October. Now, you guys, I know, Joe, you don't. You probably don't even know that.
Tell me when the tournament starts, and I'll root for Michigan State.
When somebody passes out your office March Madness pool, that's when you start.
I'm like, oh yeah, basketball started, didn't it?
You pick the teams based on the mascots.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, all right. For those of you who don't know, there is college basketball going on, and it is really good. And there's some surprising things going on. The Blue Bloods, man, are having a hard time. And I'm going to tell you, you might see an NCAA tournament that does not include Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, and Michigan State. And to me, that is insane. That is insane. At any year, those could be your top 4 number 1 seeds. And they might not make the tournament this year.
That's crazy.
So, one team that is going to make the tournament and is probably going to be a number 1 seed, but just had 2 weeks off and actually rose a spot somehow by missing a few games in 2 weeks of time, is the Michigan Wolverines. And that's really where I want to start, fellas. I want to start with a game that I watched the other day. And it was just beautiful. It was on CBS, and it was the Michigan Wolverines versus the Wisconsin Badgers. It was in Madison. Any other year, it would have just been a rabid, raucous crowd over in Madison, Wisconsin. They pumped in the noise. They put the paper people up there in the stands. They tried their best to make it look like a mid-February Big Ten CBS showdown. And I was nervous at first, being a huge Michigan basketball fan. I was nervous to see how they would come out after a 2-week layoff. And some of the rust was there, for sure. They got down quite a bit. I think they were down 14 points in the first half. And but that second half, man, they just came back, and they just played ball. And they just showed their dominance. And Dan, listen, man, I don't care about any asterisks. I don't care about COVID. And as far as whatever's going on with this, what the season is actually going to be. Because we just saw the NFL pull out a full season. And then prior to that, we saw the NHL and we saw the NBA pull out champions. So the NCAA, they're going through it. They're doing it because it's exciting. It's exciting to see because this is the time now where college basketball heats up. This is where college basketball starts to take their dominance on the sports scene. 2 weeks left in February. then
March Madness.
March Madness, baby. So, Dan, so many things I want to talk about with this March Madness situation right now. Let's start with Michigan. And where do you think they are at, and what do you think they showed with this win at Wisconsin after their 2-week layoff, and getting put into Sunday afternoon CBS at Madison showdown against a ranked Wisconsin team? What did Michigan show you?
Well, to me, I think it was their biggest win of the year. I mean, they've had games where they've blown teams out. They've looked incredibly impressive, but to come off a long layoff, having with the COVID situation, everything that went on, you could see the rust throughout the first half. They went down 14 points. I believe they were down 12 at halftime, and you could tell they were talking about at halftime show, they don't have their legs, or they don't. You're not shooting well. They're not playing well. This is all to be expected, and they're kind of just blowing it off. Michigan's probably going to lose this game, and they'll bounce back. This isn't the Michigan team that we know. We were going to see the real Michigan team in a few weeks once they get going again. Yeah. But everybody kind of just threw it off. Okay, this is a game they're going to lose, and then they came out in the second half and just grinded that thing out. Like, they didn't just storm them. They weren't just shooting the lights out, but they grinded it out. They played with defense, and they also did it with rebounding. Hunter Dickinson is unbelievable. The way he was offensive rebounding, they were getting Wisconsin was still playing well, especially defensively, and forcing Michigan. They had to wear down the shot clock. They were taking shots at the very end of the shot clock, taking bad shots, but then Dickinson would just reach his arm out and grab the. You didn't even think he had a chance to grab the rebound. He would just contort his body, somehow grab the rebound, dish it back out.
Rebounds.
He would dish it back out, and they'd hit a three.
Sick, man.
Yeah. And it's like those threes are threes they shouldn't have gotten.
Yep.
Like, those are extra possessions that they were getting because of Dickinson's offensive rebounding, and he just took over that game in the second half with his dominant performance rebounding the game. That was, to me, was so impressive, because you haven't seen a Michigan big man dominate a game like that. Like, we've seen Michigan big men play, but they were more like 3-point shooters, outside shooters, more finesse players. But to see Dickinson dominate on the rebounding end like that, and to give them extra possessions like they did was really, really impressive.
It was. Is it getting you hyped up? I'm hyped up for college basketball. I always am. I love college basketball. I love pro basketball. I love college basketball. And it's the same thing, like, I love pro football and I love college football. I love them for different reasons. I love college basketball. And especially right now. Like, this is the time, man. This is the time where if you really want to dominate your office pool, you start really focusing on what's happening right now, in a normal year. And these are fun games, and there's going to be a real fun one coming up on Sunday, where Michigan, Ohio State, and Ohio State is the number 4 ranked team in the country. You're going to have the number 3 ranked team in the country versus the number 4 ranked team in the country, and it's Michigan and it's Ohio State. And I just, look, man, put it all say whatever you want about anything that's going on right now. The fact that Michigan and Ohio State are number 3 and number 4, and they're going to go head to head on national TV. I am jacked up for this game, man. Do you think America's jacked up for this game? Like, do you think the ratings are going to be there? And should they be? The Big Ten is the best conference, hands down, in basketball. And this game is huge. Are you going to watch this? Joe, are you going to make plans to watch this game? Dan, are you going to make plans to watch this game? And do you think America is going to watch this game? And if they don't, are they missing out? Or is it just not that important because college basketball isn't important until the tournament?
Well, like you said, Tom, now is the time to pay attention if you want to get the edge in the tournament in your office pool. So, yeah, I think it is a big game. They do play the Rutgers, though, on Thursday, so they might not be 3 and 4. You never know what could happen between that time.
Joe,
but it is a big game, like you said.
They're going to be ranked 3 and 4 because it won't come out till the thing won't come out till Monday. I don't want to ruin your thought. Yeah, the Rutgers game, that's actually probably Rutgers ain't that bad either. But it's still, whatever happens until Sunday, it's still going to be 3 versus 4 on national TV.
Okay.
Michigan, Ohio State.
I mean, of course we want to watch that game. That is a big game when you have two of the best college teams. And, yeah, I'm going to try to watch it for sure. I don't think I have anything going on. So, I mean, I'm going to sit down and watch it because, like you said, I do need to start paying attention a little bit more to basketball because what we'll talk about later is what else we have to look at. And Michigan is a top team right now.
Yeah. And then, all right, so with you, like, where's college basketball right now on your radar? And with the way that the games are getting postponed and the whole situation is so fickle, like, where are you at, not only with college basketball right now, but with this game, this Michigan-Ohio State basketball game that is one of the biggest regular season Big Ten basketball games in a long time?
Well, for me personally, I always get seriously into college basketball as soon as the Super Bowl's over. So, like, to me, that's immediate. Super Bowl's over, football's over. I turn the page. Okay, now I'm really invested in college basketball. I keep an eye on it. I'll watch the big games, but I'm not watching, every single minute, every Michigan game, I'll be honest. But once the Super Bowl's over, then it's like, okay, where's everybody ranked in the standings? What are the seedings? What is the bracketology looking like right now? And if you look at it right now, they have both Michigan and Ohio State as 1 seeds. So it is a big game, and if Michigan can pull this game out and win it, they don't officially, but they, for intents and purposes, they probably almost clinch the Big Ten regular season with a win, beating Ohio State, with them having 2 wins over Wisconsin, beating Ohio State. That at least puts them in the driver's seat to win the Big Ten regular season. So it is a big game for sure, but I don't know nationally. You asked if nationally are people going to be watching it. I don't know if either team has the names that nationally people are going to be turning into, but for the college basketball,
nobody in college basketball has the names. Who's got the name? Who's a star in college basketball right now that nationally people are turning?
I don't even think there really is.
There isn't. It doesn't exist.
There isn't a Zion this year. There just isn't anybody that I think anybody's really like, I gotta watch this game because this
the next
player's
LeBron.
playing.
Every year there's the next LeBron or the next MJ or the next, like, this is
whoever.
Like right now, like, more about Imani Bates. You've been hearing more about Imani Bates, who is, like, still in high school, like, more than anybody in college basketball. But we got Cade Cunningham at Oklahoma State, who is a name to watch, especially if you're a Pistons fan, and if the Pistons are actually starting to get kind of good. But long story short, with that, Cade Cunningham is like really the only superstar college basketball player, and he plays for Oklahoma State, who isn't necessarily you're not going to call him a blue blood. It's not Kentucky, it's not North Carolina. There isn't that headline grabbing superstar in college basketball right now.
So then no. Answer the question. Like, nationally, people aren't going to be tuning into. I'll say the casual fan nationally is not going to be tuning in.
What are the casual fans doing though?
Waiting for March Madness.
Is that always the case? So if you're a hardcore college basketball fan.
Yeah, if the hardcores are going to be watching it. The hardcores will be watching it, for sure.
How different is a hardcore... What does it take to be a hardcore college basketball fan? Like,
someone like you watching in October.
Yeah, you watching. It's number 3 versus number 4. That's for a hardcore basketball fan. Yeah, you're going to watch that. But if you're a casual, it's like, who's the big time players? So I've never heard of that. Or maybe if it's big time. I mean, Michigan, Ohio State are big names, but I still don't think that's going to draw the.
Plus, it's an early game. It's a 1 o'clock game, so the West Coast, that's at 10 in the morning. Yeah. So who's going to be watching that? So it's not a good time either.
But hey, look though, man, the 1 o'clock CBS Saturday or Sunday game. CBS always has that 1 o'clock Sunday game that it's when it's just cold as hell outside. It's just deep February, and that 1 o'clock, and when it's a Big Ten showdown, and it's usually Michigan or Michigan State is in it, and it's like Michigan State, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio State, even like a Indiana Purdue game. When it's that 1:00 CBS and both Indiana and Purdue are ranked. If you're a Big Ten college basketball fan, like CBS has always kind of had that. Like that game has always like been the Big Ten, man, and that time slot is sacred in February, and I don't know, man. I'm excited for this one because I think it's going to be a great game. I think you're going to get a Michigan-Ohio State game, man. And it's college basketball time. But I'm going to throw this at you guys, man. As far as college basketball goes right now, man. Like I said, we got the Blue Bloods are Michigan State just lost again tonight. They just lost to Purdue. They most likely done. Duke's best player just opted out. Top freshman just out, and North Carolina probably not going to make it. Kentucky's having a rough time. Kansas is really struggling. What's up with that, Dan? Like, what do you? And with having these Blue Bloods,
well, I mean, is
that going to hurt the? Just real quick, Dan, having these Blue Bloods hurt like this, is that going to hurt college basketball this season going forward because the Blue Bloods, the Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Kansas, Michigan State are really struggling, might not even make the tournament? Or is it what we've always been seeing where, because I've been predicting a 16 is going to beat a 1 seed. I started predicting it like 3 years ago, saying this is probably going to be and obviously God, it was 2 years ago it happened when MCCU was it beat Virginia? Virginia lost when they were number 1 seed to a 16, and then they came back last year and won the whole thing. Or 2 years ago. Long story short, things are changing in college basketball, and the top schools aren't always going to be the top now when it comes to college basketball, and these other teams are coming up, and these small schools in the country can put 5 to 10 players on a court and beat somebody because there's so many good basketball players out there and so little spots to play Division I college basketball on the high level at Kentucky and Duke and blah, blah, blah. But the gap is closing and closing and closing and closing as far as where the top talent is and who can put a team together and beat you on any given night. Is that good for college basketball? And how much of that are we seeing right now with this coming tournament?
Well, I think we've been seeing it for a while now. There's a lot of parity across college basketball because you get a lot of the top players leave early, so that's difficult for college basketball. Yeah. And then you get these other teams that they're players that they're good players, but they're not great, so they're not leaving early. So then they're in the system for 3-4 years. So you got upperclassmen, you got juniors and seniors, and they've been in the system, and they understand it, and they have chemistry with their teammates. And that's a lot of stuff you don't get with these other teams now because a lot of the Blue Bloods because those players are leaving. So you don't have that chemistry like some of these smaller schools have. So that's why you're seeing these smaller schools rise up. And now with COVID, you're seeing it in the regular season. You've seen it in the tournament, but now you're seeing it in the regular season where these underdogs are coming up and beating the big boys because there's no home court advantage. So the arenas are completely empty. So when you walk into Rupp Arena in Kentucky, or you walk into Breslin, you walk into the Cameron Crazies, the Cameron Indoor, that's not there. That's not there. So if you're a smaller team or you're an underdog, you go into that arena, you don't feel that atmosphere. You don't feel that pressure before the tip. Like it's just a basketball game. It's just a basketball game in a gym. That's a big difference in what we've seen in any other year.
And there's nothing wrong with parity. I mean, you see how it is with football. Even you get sick of seeing Tom Brady win it. It's nice, and that's why I've always liked hockey, is because you can just make the playoffs. You can win it all, and to see that in basketball, everyone loves the Cinderella story in basketball. So if you do have a couple of them, even in one, it's just going to draw more people, I think, to watch. So Parity is always good.
People are going to watch the
Yeah.
tournament regardless because they pick their brackets. So they root for they every game they have a rooting interest in it because they.
But you
they
see
pick
how it is when
somebody.
the Cinderella story comes out. I mean, everybody just
Oh, for
focuses
sure,
on it,
yeah.
and it just blows up.
Oh, it's incredible.
But I don't
man.
think it's going to affect things in terms of how many people are going to watch the tournament because some of the big boys are gone. Like I think everybody's going to watch it because it is the tournament. It's the tournament that's the brand more than even just the Blue Bloods. I mean, maybe you get to the Final Four and the championship, and the big boys aren't there. Maybe that'll cause some ratings to decline.
Ratings. I can't scientifically say this, but I would bet that ratings do kind of decline as far as like certain fan demographics.
Oh yeah.
After you watch the first weekend, right, and then after that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, half of America's brackets are already shot. So your casual fan who doesn't really care that much except for their bracket's already busted. They're not always going to carry on with the tournament where it's going to be your fans that really love basketball stick and watch every game of the tournament, Like your guy who gets his vasectomy, right? You guys know that thing, right? Like the most times that vasectomies are scheduled for is the Wednesday before the first day of the tournament because you got
to be home anyways.
Yeah, because you got to sit home for 2 days doing nothing. So you'll get a vasectomy and you just watch the first 2 days of the tournament. and that's kind of the thing. America's always, but once your bracket's busted and or your team's out. Mm-hmm. And things start to trail off, man. And then what I'm saying is, you're right, man. But the tournament, it's so awesome, man. And it doesn't. I think it's better for basketball, college basketball, to have so much variety, man. Like you love seeing Eastern Washington make it to the Elite Eight because they hit 2 last-second buzzer beaters, the crazy stories and these kids, but the gap is shrinking. I've been saying this for years, and I see it shrink more and more every year. And like you said, Dan, this year is going to be even more different because so many different teams. Like you said, that edge, man. You're not going to Rupp Arena and just feeling all like the energy on top of you of 60,000 people in these stands. All putting all their energy for you to miss that shot, man. Like now it's your best 5 against our best 5, man. It's just a gym, And what a time, especially for college basketball, when things are already, the gap is closing. A 16 beat a 1. Like you really didn't think you'd see that, but it happened, man. And now anything can happen. Now that 16 seed can go to the Final Four. That 16 seed this year, particularly, a 16 seed could win the whole thing because there's just.
Well, I don't see that.
I know. I don't.
See
I'm
that.
not trying to talk super crazy, but people thought I was super crazy when I said you will see a 16 beat a 1 in the next few years. Blah blah blah. I said that a few years before it happened. I'm not saying a 16 seed is going to go win the whole thing, but we're getting close to it. In college basketball, the gap is getting so closed because there's a lot of really, really good basketball players out there, and there's only so many spots.
Is the G League pulling any of the players from that, do you think? Is that having anything to do with it, or...
The G League.
Yeah,
Doesn't the G League?
The NBA G League, yeah. They
Because can't you go straight there and play, or?
That's a good question. There just isn't any exposure immediately in the G League. That's man. You're gonna have to produce your way to looking that up right now, man. Because I think you're right. I think you might be. I don't think you can go straight to the G League. I think you have to play 1 year. I don't think you can go straight to the G League, but I knew there were talks and there were some things.
I know
about
they were
it,
talking about even other leagues,
but still,
to start
man,
other leagues.
They are starting to talk about, and I think it's starting like maybe next year, where they're going to start letting you bypass college and going straight into the pros, which that hurt college basketball last time, and they really fought against that stuff. I do like the idea of the G League. What do you think, Dan? Like, given what the rules are, because I know they're touchy and they change every year. I do know that, like, you have to play, like, right now, freshmen got to go. You got to play. You can't go straight from high school to the NBA. I know that. I don't think you can go to the G League. You might be able to, though. But a lot of you guys are going. You got to play 1 year and then you're going. But even right now, like I said, Duke's best guy just opted out. He's a true freshman. What's a route for these guys, Dan? Because I know football's a different animal, and I've talked about it a few times. Leonard Fournette, man, he's just a guy who he could have gone from high school football to the NFL. He was just built that way, man. A generational talent. And in college, he was like you saw it in his first year, and then what happened his sophomore year? He got hurt, things started deteriorating, and everybody knows running back is. If you look at the pay structure in the NFL of positional, running back is the bottom. Like running back is the worst. Should these athletes just get to go from high school to the pros?
Absolutely. Because if there's an NBA team, that's going to draft them, then they should go. And they should have the opportunity to go and see where they would fall if they would be a first round pick, or a close early second round pick. They should have that chance. Yeah. There's no reason they shouldn't. Yeah. Like, why should they have to go to college? Why should they be forced to?
Let me ask you this: how crazy can it get? Because you hear stories about. I think Nick Saban gave a scholarship offer to an 8th grader, I think, once, right? Or I think we've heard a few stories about that. We could GTS that. But, like, Amani Bates, man. Amani Bates, as a sophomore in high school, the guy was player of the year.
You can go right out into the G League out of high school.
You can go into the G League
out of high school.
But you can't get drafted. You got to play 1 year.
19, yeah. It says 19.
So you can go to the G League at 18?
Yeah, you can go in right out of high school, it says.
So why? But there's got to be a cap then. There's probably...
You probably have to be 18.
Can you look up the highest paid player in the G League?
Highest paid
I'd like to know that. That'd be a good thing. But while he's looking that up, where do you draw the line then? Like if a sophomore in high school is the best basketball player in the state of Michigan,
you gotta be an adult.
You can drive a car at 16.
Well, we can go all around with the laws and stuff, but you should have to be an adult to go play in a pro league.
If you're the best player in high school basketball in America, should it matter if you're 15, 16, 17, or 18? If that's where your talent is, why does age matter at that particular moment?
I don't know. For me, it's just personal preference. I think a kid should go through high school, should finish high school before he can be drafted. But I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they should be able to, like Joe said, because hockey players can go in at
the smartest 16, computer 16, programmer. All right, so if you're at,
can they go to the NHL
in high school?
No, I don't think they can go to the NHL. But they start like juniors at 16. Like they leave their families and live with people in Canada. And 16 years old. But it's like a professional league. The juniors.
Yeah, like the OHL, right?
Well, it's different.
Is it the Ontario Hockey League?
The OHL is different from juniors, but yeah, they go. I mean, even a lot of those. Actually, I don't think in those you can, but it's. I don't know if it is professional, but it's pretty darn close. Because you get. I don't know if you get paid, but everything's paid for. Yeah. And normally, if stuff's paid for, well, I guess college stuff's paid for too.
Well, to an extent, yeah. You get your scholarships, you get your meal money.
I feel like you do get.
And they are starting to. I do like this where you can get paid off your own likeness. College kids should be able to sign autographs on the weekend as long as everything's on the up and up. Like You know,
It says it's $35,000 for most players, and it says up to $380,000 for those who have two-way contracts that might, go and play in the NBA.
yeah.
So $35,000.
And college basketball is changing, man, and everything we're watching right now is changing because these kids are putting themselves in situations like Michigan. They shut down for 2 weeks now, all athletics, but they have to quarantine, man. Like these kids are being put now. Kids, adults, grown people. What do you want to call it, man? I don't know. I just turned 41 today, and I still feel like I'm a kid, man. My little brother over here turned what? What are you, 34?
Yes, sir.
You'll always be my little brother, so you're always gonna be a kid to me. I know, Joe. You're getting.
I'll be 40 in June.
Yeah, you're about to get old as hell too, man.
Yeah.
Let me give you one word of advice. Don't turn 40. Everything sucks after 40. The world shuts down. You can't travel nowhere. There's a pandemic. Everything sucks when you turn 40.
Thanks, man. Thanks. You got a lot to look forward to.
I know, man. Oh, my God. Turning 40 in 2020 was supposed to be awesome.
We're talking about what isn't awesome.
God, I know.
In 2020 and 2021.
Everything's different. I know.
And that's just everybody.
Uh,
Nothing is awesome in 2021. I mean, every team we have is rebuilding, and they all suck. I mean, to put it frankly.
It's tough, man. I do want to do... I know. We're really talking about this college basketball and kind of like the rabbit hole we just went down with everything it means, man, because it is crazy to think about. It's so crazy to think about that here we are again, basically 1 year later, and we're about to go into March Madness again, and like we are excited about it to an extent, but so much is different. But as far as Detroit sports is concerned, what is different, man? I want to segue away from college basketball here and get into our pro sports, and I just want to do a brief overview of, like, since football's over and we got to fill airtime here, and talk about our sports that are just not that good. It's just not that good.
I mean, and the thing that's bad about it, it's not just this year. It wasn't just last year. It wasn't just the year before. It was the year before that. It's just,
I know.
it's just non-ever going. Our teams.
But
suck
this is
right now.
Detroit. Just like this is Detroit. It's Detroit sports. This is the Detroit sports sit down. And like Detroit is supposed to be like the lifeblood, the heartbeat of sports in America, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
there was one time where
I don't think
we
people
were-
in New York would say that, or Boston, or L.A., or
No,
we were voted
several big cities.
You met multiple times. We've
been voted
best sports town years
multiple
in a
times.
row.
Yeah.
Multiple years in a row. Detroit sports is legit, man.
10 years ago.
I know.
Yeah, and it does suck because you're not looking forward to any games. You're not going, sweet, I get to watch the Pistons tonight. Like,
Yeah.
the Red Wings are on. It's
What
like,
kind of record are they going to set tonight, man? Like,
Yeah.
how? Like, are they only going to let a
Consecutive?
team score 60 points tonight? like, how good is this defense going to be? Oh my God, man! Like, and the Wings, man. Like, oh God, who are they going to pick up? Oh, hey, Lou Robitaille, want to come play and want to come win the Stanley Cup? Hey, there's Chris Chelios. Let's come play for the Wings. You know, like who wants to come play for the best hockey team in the world? You know, like. Oh, the Tigers, you know. Oh, man, we got Mike Ilitch, man. All he wants to do is win a ring, and he's going to do whatever the hell it takes to do it. And then you always have the Lions, you know. Whatever. Oh, you always got that hope, you know. And,
at least something's
so
never changed.
Okay, so what is the real deal, though, with Detroit sports right now? Wait, it's because, okay, what I want to do is, on this cold, snowy, mid-February day, is I want to talk about hope. All right, so on our show sheet, we wanted to break down the 4 pro sports teams and just do it like a general consensus of like what's up with Detroit sports right now. All about hope, and especially in these dark days that us Detroit sports fans are in. We are used to glory and greatness. And that's not what we're getting these days. We're not getting a lot of that these days. Our hockey teams, the worst. Our basketball teams, the
second worst. Come on.
Second worst. Yes, okay, second worst. And our basketball team, we only beat the good teams, which our basketball team does. So I mean, that's fun, right? Especially if you're a gambling man like me, you know. Our Lions, you know, they are what they are. But with this season of hope, and that's what I'm calling it. The 2021 in Detroit sports is the season of hope. You know,
season of hope.
You know, the catch line is it only gets better from here. You know?
Remember not for baseball, but at least for hockey and basketball, next year is still 2021.
Yeah.
So even though this year might not end how we want it to be, maybe the beginning of next year.
Yes.
Next season will be better.
It is. And all right, so Dan, you get to lead the charge on baseball because if you're a hardcore baseball fan, you already know that spring training is on the horizon. Pitchers and catchers are reporting. Baseball, man. I know it's like we got a foot of snow dumped on us, and I literally
think it's currently 0 degrees.
Car out to get here. Yeah, is it? I think it's 5. I think we still got 5 degrees.
It's going to dip to 0 degrees tonight.
Yeah. It's gonna get past here. So,
hey, season of hope. Come on, guys.
But this is the season of hope, and so let's start with Dan. And Dan, what the heck do we have to be hopeful for about the Detroit Tigers?
I don't think it's not a season of hope. It's 2-3 years down the line of hope. But I mean, there is a lot of hope with the Tigers, and if I'm going to pick a team in Detroit right now that I am the most hopeful for, or feel the most confident in, is going to be good within the next 3 to 4 years, it is the Detroit Tigers because of the prospects that they have in the farm system, and there is a lot of them. They have 5 prospects in the top 100 right now, and with Spencer Torkelson, Casey Mize, Riley Green, Tarek Skubal, Matt Manning, and they also have Isaac Paredes, who's just on the outside. So there is a lot to be hopeful for in terms of prospects and in terms of the future. But the current season, you're looking at the season, it's not hopeful, unfortunately. They did not go out and sign anybody of note. The only top player that they really went out and signed is a player that they re-signed. That's Jonathan Scope. He's back on another 1-year deal. But even like the player that we were kind of hoping he was a nice player
to watch last year.
He was a nice player for sure. But he's not somebody who's gonna, turn the franchise around or anything like that. And even another player that I think everybody liked was C.J. Crone, and he left. He's not coming back either. He went outside with
last year, right?
Yeah, he hurt his knee. He hurt his knee about halfway through the season, but he was showing some promise, and maybe somebody that they could have even maybe traded halfway through. But at the end of the day, they really got nothing out of him. So. But that kind of goes into what I think I'm most frustrated around. I know this is supposed to be a hopeful segment, but I am very frustrated with Chris Ilitch because there's going to come a time where he's going to have to go out and spend money. And there's nobody on the roster right now who is making significant money outside of Miguel Cabrera. All the contracts are gone now. All the big money contracts are gone. This offseason would have been a great time to go out and get those free agents because you're expecting these prospects to come around within the next 2 to 3 years, maybe sooner. All right, maybe even that we see them halfway through the season this year. Okay, but definitely 2022 is going to be a big year where things are supposed to turn around, right? Okay. So why not go out and spend the money now when there's free agents out there and there's not a lot of teams competing for that money because of COVID?
Well, Are you looking to sign a guy for $30 million a year for the next 5 years to make a big splash this year?
Make a big splash in the next 3 years. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Pudge. Reminds me of Megalodonians.
Okay, okay. We want the next Pudge. I don't want the next Juan Gonzalez. You know, you have a team that's not good at all, full of maybe prospects. Then you go out and sign one guy for way too much money, and it does absolutely nothing. Like, you don't want that. Yeah, you want to go find the next Pudge. As a Tiger fan, Pudge Rodriguez symbolizes rebirth in Tiger baseball. I like where your head's at. I don't think this year is the time, and I don't think you blame Chris.
So then you're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to get all the free agents in one season. So go out and get one or two this year, and then one or two next offseason, and then one or two the offseason after that.
Is there someone in your head that what would have been a good move? What's a signing that another team, an up-and-coming team in the Tigers' similar position, is there a guy that you wish you would have had the Tigers go get?
There's two that come to mind. I mean, I don't know if they're going to come here. Obviously, I know that's putting a lot, but they didn't even try. I guess that's my frustration. But even if they would have come or not,
I'm saying like
if I wish they would have made an effort.
Yes. For
somebody like Trevor Bauer.
Okay.
All right, who ended up going to the Dodgers. Yeah. Obviously, if he's going to have the option to go to the Dodgers or the Tigers, he's going to go to the Dodgers. But I would prefer to have Trevor Bauer. You have him at the top of your rotation. Then as these young guys come up, you have an ace. So as these young guys come up, you don't have the pressure of. So Casey Mize is coming up. He doesn't have the pressure of being the guy. He's not the ace.
I get what
you have a guy who's the ace.
But what top free agent in their right mind right now, if the Dodgers are going to give you as much money as you can make, or the Yankees are going to give you as much money as you can make, or the Tigers are going to give you as much money as you can make.
I think Dan wants them to try.
Where the hell do you think they're going to go? Not the Tigers.
Try.
He wants them
to try. Maybe you pay him a little bit. Maybe you give him a few more years on the contract. Maybe you give him a little bit more money on the contract. But at least make the effort. At least make the effort to bring some.
For what purpose? Even if Trevor Bauer did come, why do it this year?
How long is the contract for? 5, 6, 7 years, right? So are they going to suck for the next 10 years then? No. They signed Pudge when they were the worst team in the history of the American League. And they signed Pudge.
And are the Tigers in a position to take that big of a risk on that type of pitcher when pitchers are really, you know what, Tommy John? Like just Tommy John.
You could say that about fucking anybody,
yes,
man.
You can. But you don't put.
So don't try. Say fuck it then.
This year, no. Keep building your farm system, dude. You got one more year.
So tank again.
Yes.
So and then tank for the next year. Then who?
No, not next year. Like
you signing free agents for you're building.
We're in a rebuild. Team. It's a rebuild.
At some point, you got to bring in some guys.
Go out for $130 million.
So Maglio was a bad signing when they signed him.
I think everybody knew
Pudge was a bad signing when they signed him. No, Maglio was a free.
It was a bad. Maglio was a good
World Series.
A lot of people didn't sign him because he had his knee problems. Well, we got lucky because what did he? He went out to some foreign country and got some weird knee surgery and actually came back better. And we got lucky. And Pudge came. And JV.
What did you just say though?
And it all came together. And guess what? It all didn't come together because there's no rings to show.
They went to the World
anyway.
Series in 2006, 3 years after being the worst team in the history of the American League. And why did it happen? Because they went out and signed guys to start, and then as the prospects came up, it went along with the free agents that they were bringing in. And it all came to fruition in 2006 when they went to the World Series. And then they went on a 10-year run where they were a consistent contender. Yeah, they didn't win the World Series, but they went to 2 and they won multiple division championships.
And it was a lot of fun.
They had a ton of big games.
Well, what happened? The farm system was depleted pretty much the entire time. And now things are completely different. We're a bad baseball team with a great farm system. You don't go out and sign a guy right now. Wow, shoot, man.
Why not? It worked.
You're right.
It worked. The blueprint is already there.
It worked.
You don't do this if your farm system's dog shit.
It's not Trevor Bauer. It's not a pitcher. Because, like I say, pitchers are.
I'm just using him as an example.
But putting all that money
he's one
out
example.
On a
Another guy I would have liked to see was DJ LeMahieu.
What about,
who ended up re-signing with the Yankees, but he's from St. Clair Shores.
Would you have double paid, super overpaid for Mookie Betts.
He got traded to the Dodgers. And
That's what I'm saying. Like, that was a trade. Like, you could have...
I don't want to do a trade.
I
want to do a free agent signing because I don't want to give up prospects.
Oh, you just want to...
So the reason I do this, reason I go outside free agents now is because, for one reason, is because not a lot of people are going out and spending money because of COVID. Okay, so they didn't make a lot of money last season, and they don't know what this season coming forth is going to bring. Okay, whether we're going to have fans, even if we do have fans, they're not going to be sellouts.
It's limited. Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be limited. Okay, so not a lot of people are going out and spending for free agents. Yeah. It's an opportunity that if Chris Ilitch is a man of his word and said he's going to spend his money when the team is ready, go out and spend the money then. You got an opportunity to go out and get free agents. Okay, go out and get them. Get one or two now, and then the next offseason, get one or two. And then the offseason after that, okay? And the reason you do that is because you have one of the best farm systems in baseball right now. If they had a terrible farm system, I would say not do it.
He's also paying Miguel Cabrera $30 million. And that's it.
The rest of the contracts are gone.
Well, yeah, you can look at the structure. Like, it's $30 million, and then
he is the only one that is left. All the contracts are gone. They're not paying anybody any money outside of him.
Yeah, the next lowest contract is what, like $8-9 million. Like,
not even.
They can't like Miguel Cabrera makes almost 50% of the payroll or something, man. It's like I don't think it's that high, but it's ridiculous. Yeah, Joe, if you could look that up, Miguel Cabrera holds a significant portion. But don't you think that is going through Chris Ilitch's mind as he's thinking about hiring free agents?
Don't sign a 35-year-old with busted knees. Yeah, obviously. Yeah, don't do that. But go out and sign a guy who's in his prime right now, who's going to be good for the next 5 to 6 years, and sign him now.
There's no guarantee that he's not going to tear an ACL or blow a knee.
Okay, then don't sign anybody. You can say that about every sport, every single team.
You got to be careful. That's the dumbest take. They're not a piece or two away from competing. We're in the midst of a multiple-year rebuild. So you can't just be frivolous, man. You got to make sure that you're building for the future. Yeah, Dan, you're right. At some point, you're going to have to bring pieces in here that are showstoppers, man. Like you got to get some high-priced free agents. But Prince
so he's 41% of the payroll.
41%?
Almost 42%.
Because they're not paying anybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Money right
and
so the contracts 30, are off the books.
And then the next is Boyd at 6.5.
So they've been trying to trade for a year and a half, 2 years now.
And then the next is 5 under that.
The contracts are off the books. So go out and spend money now. Get people excited about the team.
They can't even come to the games.
You can watch on TV.
Can you?
So why when what are you waiting for?
That later, I know. You can't watch them on TV for the most part. But we're going to talk about that later anyway with the TV and the Tigers thing. Look, man, for real though, man, I don't think this is not the year to go spend on any
$72,000 is how much their payroll.
$72,000.
$72 million.
Or sorry, $72 million. You know what I meant. $72 million.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
That's $72 million.
We used to be 2, right? We used to be 2.
$180 million. $180 million before this rebuild. $180 million. $180 million, Tom. Yeah. It's still the same family that owns this team.
But like Tom's saying, there is no fans, and that's 2 sports you're not getting any fans. With the Red Wings and the Tigers.
Well, I do feel bad for the Ilitches because they are really struggling for money. Yeah. The Ilitches, they just don't have a lot of money. You got to give them some credit. They're really struggling as a family. They're really on hard times right now.
It's still a business,
and you got to think about the future.
What do you think, though? Okay,
I understand.
They brought
I
mean, with the Ilitches though, and I know you're kind of salty with it, but I know you're not super mad, right? Where are you at with Ilitch?
With Chris Ilitch?
As far as with...
You want me to get going on Chris Ilitch?
I know Joe's going to do hockey, so just don't even think about hockey.
I'm not even going to talk about the Red Wings.
As far as baseball goes and the Tigers and hope. Hope for the future. Do you have hope that Chris Ilitch can and will bring this Tiger team back to prominence?
If he spends money, and I haven't seen him spend money yet.
Will he? Do you think he will?
I don't know.
And is there any evidence?
That's why I'm frustrated.
Support the fact that he will or he won't?
No, there's no evidence to support that he's going to spend money.
Isn't that insane?
You have to spend money to win.
Don't you
win,
think,
wins bring money. Like
What if-
you have to, but you have to spend money to win.
I know. Why not? Why is he looking at this team like a business, and why isn't he looking at it like the way his dad did?
Because he doesn't care.
Little Caesars
he
was
doesn't
a
care.
business.
He doesn't give a
The
damn.
Tigers were a passion. It sounds like for Chris Ilitch,
It's a business.
Little Caesars, the Tigers are a way to sell Little Caesars pizzas.
It's a business to
And
him.
that is concerning. So does that...
Because
there hope?
There's owners that won't spend money until their team starts winning.
How
And to
do-
me, that
that's
doesn't
not-
go hand in
I know.
hand. You have to spend money to
Especially
win.
in baseball.
And the blueprint is already there. I don't know how much I have to go over this. The blueprint is already there. They had a farm system that was coming up. So they went out and spent money on free agents. They brought in Pudge. Then the next year they brought in Maglio. Then the prospects came in to match the free agents that they brought in.
All right.
And they went to the World Series 3 years after being the worst team in American
listen.
League history.
Dan,
the blueprint's there. So start it now.
Dan,
Chris Ilitch sucks.
they hired A.J. Hinch.
Yeah, so that tells me that they're going to go for it.
Yes, in a controversial way at that. Are they building from a certain way here? Is Chris Ilitch building from a structure here by doing that? Did he show that he's throwing caution to the wind? I hate using cliches like that, but it's kind of what it is. Like, he took a controversial manager who is a really good baseball manager, and he brought him in. Is that a sign of hope for the future that Chris Ilitch does want to build a winner in Detroit? Starting with a manager that some teams may have not taken because of what happened, because of the controversy. Is that a good or is it a bad sign because he got a decent manager on the cheap because he was blacklisted, and so he probably got him on the cheap. You know, like, was that a shrewd move by a guy who was only thinking about the bottom line, or was that a move in the right direction for the future of Tigers baseball?
I think it could be both. It can be a good move that you got a manager for cheaper, and you got probably the best manager, one of the best managers out there in baseball. But obviously, he comes with baggage because of what happened. I'm not thrilled that they hired him, but if you're going to look at the bright side of it, yeah, he is one of the best managers in baseball. But when it comes to Chris Ilitch, and you're looking at the whole franchise, since he's taken over, it's only been cutting money. Cutting. And they haven't spent yet. So the only thing I can look at is Chris Ilitch is, when is the time going to happen when they're going to spend the money? And you can disagree with me. And maybe you're right. Maybe they should wait until we actually do see these prospects show something. But I would rather have some free agents in there who are actually going to lead this team, and then they can show the prospects the right way. So when the prospects come in, they don't have all this pressure on them to be, the faces of the franchise. When Casey Mize comes up, he's going to be the face of the franchise. That's not fair. To me, that's not fair to him. That's not fair to put that amount of pressure. It's already so difficult to come up and play in the major leagues as it is. You already have this pressure because you're a top prospect and you're a top draft pick. But now you're asked to be also the face of the franchise. It's not fair. You should have, like, when any of those guys came up in 2006, they had guys like Maglio and Pudge and Kenny Rogers.
He's gonna be like, you're the number one pick, man. You got God-given talent. It happened. Yeah, it's not. What do you mean it's not fair? Casey Mize got drafted number 1 in pro baseball. It's like, there's pressure there, man. And he's going to be a pitcher in a team that's hopefully really good going
really
forward
good based
for a
on
long
what?
time.
What's around him when he comes up? When he comes up halfway through the year this year.
No,
what's
not
around
this
him?
year. He's not gonna throw,
this year.
I'm saying this is the hope segment. And the hope is in the next few years, in the development years, Casey Mize will be the next JV, It's going to take some time. And I am going to give the whole Tigers organization this year to be the worst team in baseball with the best farm system, get through this COVID year, let their guys develop some more, get things together, get some moving parts going, and then next year start to go build some real stuff. go after some free, like what you say, get some cornerstones in the free agent market. I think you do that next year. I think you let this year be a year of development.
I just think you should start going out getting free agents now. There's no contracts left other than Cabrera. We all know Cabrera's left.
To what extent? Like, if you overpay for a few free agents this year, what is?
He just thinks he's going to get them cheaper. You're going to get them cheaper now because of COVID, and now's the time to try to make those moves where the longer deals. So maybe 3-4 years down the road.
Are you saying?
Then they all come together.
3-4 years down the road, you start really putting the free agents.
I've said, you're not signing them for 1-year deals.
Yeah.
You're signing them for 5-6 year deals.
Do you know how risky it is to sign free agents to 4 or 5 year deals that you're going to have to overpay for anyway, that are in the middle of their prime? I know baseball's different than football and basketball, where the primes can be longer.
What's the difference between signing him this offseason or next offseason? What's the difference?
I just don't think.
Start it now.
I think you'll have to really you still have to, even though
you're going to have to either way.
You still have to overpay this year.
But you've got a better opportunity this year because not as many teams are going out and spending. So go do it this year.
Maybe.
This offseason, you only have $17 million on the books.
You still get burned, though, man.
You could still get burned next year, or the year after, or the year after that, or the year after that,
but
or the year after
that. Our prospects will be more defined, and they'll be better, and we'll have more of an idea of who's shaping up this baseball team.
Well, let's agree to disagree. How about that? I mean, I see both points of going for it now to try to get those longer deals right now, and then you might add a piece here or there, and then these guys that are on the team blow up, and then you have a repeat of what happened. So I understand that, but I look more at like what Tom said, is maybe wait 1 more year and then start to spend the money, because Chris Ilitch is looking at it more as a business, so he doesn't have the passion that his dad as a fan had. He doesn't have that. We all see it. We all know. And he's not going to act like that. He's going to act like a business, and once he sees it, I feel like he will spend the money.
I'm just saying.
From what you see, I understand.
The contracts are down to $72 million, right? We know this salary is going to be way more. Well, I hope it's going to be way more than what it is right now, okay? And you're hoping that this team is going to come around in 2 to 3 years. Why not go out and get a cornerstone veteran? I don't even want to say veteran, but somebody that's in their prime right now to be the cornerstone of your team as these prospects are coming up. Because if you say, well, we'll just wait till next offseason, well, why not try this offseason? If you don't get them, like if you try for somebody and they end up signing somewhere else, okay, well, at least you tried, but maybe you get one of them. So then the next offseason, you don't have to go out and sign 4 of them. What? You only have to sign 2 or 3 of them. Because you're not, if you say, well, let's just wait till the next offseason. Well, you still got to go out and recruit these guys and try to get them here.
Because you're looking here, though. Like, so okay, we're not going to sign a big free agent pitcher, right? I mean, you did say Bauer. Like, if you go out and get Bauer, you get a number 1 high-profile ace. What's the point of doing that this year? I don't get that. Okay, let's keep pitching.
You don't get getting good players.
Pitchings are way overpaying for a guy who isn't going to bring you a ring in the next 2-3 years. All right, and especially for a
3 years from now, he's not.
Especially for a pitcher, okay. Like, we're not signing Nolan Ryan here. No, like pitchers today, they just. I think positional players are
I don't know. I'm seeing, I know Verlander got hurt this season, but Verlander and Scherzer and Kershaw and Cole are the top pitchers, and they've been the top pitchers consistently year after year after year after year.
They're 1 pitch away from
everybody
being on the DL, where your positional players aren't. But, I mean, at the same time, like
when were we the best? When we had the best pitching staff.
I know, and we all know.
Everybody knows that.
Dude, wait, what? The 2006, was it 2006, 2007? God, no, I'm sorry. 2014. Whatever. We had 4 Cy Youngs, right, in our rotation.
2014.
Yeah. 2014. Yeah, was it? It was Verlander, Porcello, David Price,
Scherzer.
and Max Scherzer.
Yeah.
4 Cy Young pitchers in our rotation. And don't forget Anibal Sanchez, who led the league in ERA, I think, that year or the next year. We had a 5-pitcher rotation that was insane. Mm-hmm. But how long does that last? And look at the fall off of those guys.
Well, I would argue that they should have kept going with it and re-signed both Verlander and Scherzer because Verlander and Scherzer end up being still top pitchers 4 or 5 years later.
Yes, you're right. Dang it, man! It's a tough argument, man. It really is.
I'm frustrated with how they handled it going into the rebuild. To me, they should have never had a rebuild. Okay, they spent a shit ton of money on Cabrera that they're still spending on, which everybody said when they signed him was a mistake.
Yes,
they should have
everybody knew that.
Okay, so they're still paying for that.
But you're paying for it. It's kind of like Albert Pujols, man. Why do guys get paid for what they did?
The Cardinals let them. Look what the Cardinals did.
Well, the Cardinals let him walk.
They let him walk.
The Angels paid.
And look at what the Cardinals did.
Well,
look at the difference.
Yeah. Well,
the Cardinals are continually a division contender year in and year out.
The Cardinals have been amazing since forever.
They make the right moves.
They just keep making them. Now, but the Angels, they did something because when they got Pujols was still bringing people in the stands, man. Like people would go.
They haven't won a playoff game.
Yeah,
they haven't won one playoff game since signing him.
I know, and they got Mike Trout.
They got Mike Trout, maybe one of the best players of all time. It's a terrible contract that killed the team. Same thing with Cabrera. Killed the team.
So does that kind of is my point? A little bit of it is being scared to sign in free agents before you're ready to win it all. You know,
not at $30 million though. You're not going to sign a huge guy like that.
Trevor Bauer just got they dumped a Brinks trunk in his backyard, dude. Whatever, man. What did he get? He got over $30 million a year, I think.
Did he?
For the next 3-4 years, yeah.
I wouldn't feel that.
It's outrageous. It's high, man. The number's outrageous, dude. It is. And he's one pitch away from Tommy John, or he's a season away from winning multiple Cy Youngs. You know, you don't know with this baseball, but the Dodgers are right there, man. They're right there. They just won the World Series. They were always like a guy away. They were always almost gonna win it, right? But they're always getting those guys.
It's 3 years, 102.
Oh, yeah. So what's that? 30.
Yeah, but that's only 3 years. I thought you meant
$34 million a year, man.
Yeah, that's a lot.
No, you know how baseball is. That's all guaranteed. Oh man! All right. Let's circle back around, Dan. Go ahead and finish your segment off. Dan is leading the way.
That's a pretty long segment.
Yeah, that's.
I know. Well, Joe gets to talk about hockey next, man.
Yeah, hockey minute.
So the hockey minute.
I'll just wrap up.
What the hell do we have to be hopeful for, as far as Tiger baseball is concerned?
We have to be hopeful for is the prospects, because it is the second highest ranked farm system in all of baseball. They have a lot of prospects coming up. It's 3 big-time pitchers coming up. So that's what you have to be hopeful for. The question is Chris Ilitch going to spend the money when these guys are ready? And we don't know yet. So that's the caveat to the whole thing. Is Chris Ilitch going to spend the money? But to be hopeful for is all these prospects. So once again, the Tigers are going to tank and be terrible, but you keep an eye on the minor leagues and see how these guys are progressing.
All right, Joe. With that said, where's the hope in this wing? This season, particularly, like, what are some things that Wings fans should look for as for hope for this season? And what's the big hope for the future of the Detroit Red Wings?
Well, like Dan was saying about the Tigers, is prospects. You hope these prospects take the next step, but really in hockey, they get drafted when they're 18 years old, so it does take a lot longer for these prospects to even get to the NHL. So, with Yzerman coming not that long, a lot of his players aren't even going to be in the NHL for another probably 2 years. So, you just got to hope that these prospects can take the next step. I honestly think they're still taking, because if you look at the roster when they play all older players. And you think with this young team, they're the second worst team in the league, that you would not be playing, like Helm and Flipala. Can't even still say his name right after all these years. But you're playing these older players that are pretty much done, that they're not going to do anything. Like, why are they even in the league? You should be moving these guys up. But I think Yzerman almost is doing that on purpose, where he's keeping his guys down, letting them, play together in the lower leagues, get to know each other a little bit, and then, maybe hopefully another 1, 2, 3 years down the road, probably 2, 3, 4 years down the road, that these guys will be getting to the NHL and they'll take that next step. But right now, there's really not too much hope. That's the only hope, and I just don't see a lot of these young guys that you want to see in the lineup.
I mean, Yzerman's going to need 3 to 4, off seasons and drafts just alone, just to get this team anywhere near where you're hopeful. Because like you said, it takes a long time for these guys to develop, unless you get a guy that's just absolute superstar. Like when when Sidney Crosby and Malkin and those guys came up, you knew right away those guys are going to be superstars, and they started right away. Like majority of the cases, you're not getting that. These guys have to develop, and it takes years in the minors for them to climb up the ranks and be ready for NHL hockey. So it's dark, man. I think if I had to pick a team, I think the Red Wings are the farthest away of any of the teams in Detroit to being a serious contender. And the Lions are a whole other category.
It's hard to agree. It's hard to disagree.
It is. Yeah.
Wait, no, I would like to disagree with that, only because the NHL is so fickle, man. And just like the way the playoff structure is, how many times have you seen an 8 seed beat a 1 seed?
Yeah, it happens a lot more.
You could look at what St. Louis did. 2 years ago? They were the worst team of hockey for throughout the first 40 games, and then something just clicked. Man, something flips. They fired their freaking coach, I believe, right? And then they went on this crazy run, and then they're an 8th seed, and then they go win the whole damn thing. It was amazing to watch, man. And the hockey is like that, and I think that the Wings have a lot of hope, man. They have a lot of hope because there's a lot of good young talent,
but they're not. You don't see it in the NHL. Yeah.
Well, you're getting there, man, and they are, and it happens so fast.
Yeah.
Man. Things happen fast in the NHL.
Well, that's what sucked about the Red Wings is all their players you thought were going to take the next step, and they never did, and they just kind of, you thought the next group would take over, and then and so on and so forth, and those guys just didn't do it, so they just kind of fell apart almost, and with these draft picks, I mean, a lot of they didn't have a lot of early draft picks, back then, so it kind of caught up to them, I think, and that happens to pretty much every team. But
they keep getting
they are getting
with
screwed.
The way the NHL is doing the draft. Why do they keep screwing the Wings? Doesn't it feel like the Wings, as much as okay?
You're right.
I just turned 41 years old today. Okay, that's a lot of time on this earth. And a lot of that time on this earth was spent with the Wings being one of the best teams in hockey, man. And just always getting players, man. But it wasn't always development, Mm-hmm. Now we're starting to see
that was the salary cap. That was like the Tigers, where you could spend the money.
That's what it was. You would just get
it was both.
Paul
it was
Coffey.
both.
Just go get Luke Robitaille. Let's just go get
it.
No.
Well, the Russian 5 was you going to get in the Russian 5 was a whole thing too.
It's drafting those guys too. They drafted Datsuk and Zetterberg 5th and 6th round.
Wow, you're right about that.
It was both.
A lot of it was they had one of the best scouting systems in all.
Yeah,
that was a big up. Yes, they were able to go out and get free agents on top of that, but the core of their team was based on their drafting.
I disagree.
They got that.
How do you disagree with that?
Wait, at what point?
Steve Yzerman drafted, Fedorov drafted, Lindstrom drafted, Zetterberg drafted, Datsuk drafted, all drafted late. Well, Yzerman was a top pick, obviously, but Fedorov and Lindstrom and Datsuk and Zetterberg, like Hall of Famers,
the
key core players of the franchise were all
Brett
drafted
Hall,
late.
Paul Coffey, Luke Robitaille.
Those were the guys that would put him over the top, though. But I understand.
Brett Hall was here.
Marion
he was here for 1 year. They signed for cheap.
Yeah, and they won a cup.
I know, but the core of the team wasn't Brett Hall. At what point ever was Brett Hall a core of the team?
The year they won the cup, he was a major.
He wasn't a core of the team.
It's a major part.
He wasn't Lidstrom. He wasn't Yzerman. He wasn't Fedorov.
That year?
No.
The year they won the cup, he was a significant part. We could look up the stats, Joe.
Okay, he was a significant part of one cup.
Who cares about his
How many
stats?
game-winning playoff goals did Brett Hall score in 1990 or 2000?
You guys are both right. I mean,
he
added on to it, but he added on to what they already had a core. They had a core.
It would put them over the top to win the Stanley Cup, but they didn't have
why
the core
haven't the Wings
that
done
they did
shit
draft.
since the Sailor
Because they
Joe
had a
just
lot
said
of
it.
late draft picks.
Well, that part of it, but they weren't the guys that they needed to take the next step.
I
Never
can't even
took
think
the
of their
next
names
step
right now because we've traded them all, but they just never did, and then it just kind of fell apart. And now you're starting to build that back together, and it's going to take a while, you know. But
man, I think we rode the wave. I mean, we rode the wave of
let me look at
being good. So yeah, I mean, yeah, there were good. Our player developments are not even there. Like scouting, whatever, like drafting. You're right, but the hockey draft.
What happened? I can tell you exactly what happened.
Not the NHL draft though, man. Like football drafts, like you know who's going to be a star usually. Like your first round picks in hockey. Your first 2 or 3 picks are great, and then
they could be playing in 20 different leagues.
Yeah,
that's what the other thing is. You play this league and this league, and they could be playing college. They could be playing juniors. They could be playing OHL. You know, so it depends on the league. It is a crapshoot. You know,
and the Russian Five had a huge deal with that whole success, and the Wings. I mean, you can watch the documentary. That documentary is freaking amazing, by the way, if you haven't seen it. Oh, my God.
So, like, Applicator, Tatar, like, those are the guys
Nyquist.
Those were the guys that you thought were going to take the next step, even guys
like Cronwall and DeKaiser, like, they were nice role players, but they were expected to, like, overtake.
Cronwall was a really good defender for a long time.
He was a nice defenseman.
You thought he would be better.
He was solid, but he never became the guy.
You thought he would be a number
None of those
one.
guys became the guys. Like Nyquist and those guys were supposed to overtake Zetterberg and Datsuk when they left. So when Zetterberg, Datsuk, and Lindstrom left, there was nobody to overtake them. Yeah. And that's why they collapsed, because they didn't have the next wave of guys.
It was also the end of the structure that they had, where the Wings could just any free agent wanted to come play for the Wings, because the Wings were the golden goose, man. Like, they were
but they still won in the salary cap era because of Zetterberg and Datsuk. The guys that they drafted
barely. Once the salary cap era really hit, they haven't won since.
They won deep into the salary cap era.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. The salary cap came around in 2004. They won it in 2008.
Yeah. And then it's completely fallen apart. They got the tail end of
they didn't draft well after that.
And nothing happened since.
They drafted all the small guys that like spread out that they did. Like they didn't evolve. You know what I mean? They went for like the same foreign people they did 15 years ago.
How much
a lot of it is on him.
How much is that Ken Holland?
It is.
Just riding the wave and not really being great at his job.
He had great people around him too, so that helped. But he just kind of like went for the same thing, even though hockey completely changed.
The whole thing changed.
Was the problem.
Yeah, he stayed the same, and everything changed around him.
Yes, so that was the problem, partly with him drafting. So you get Yzerman in, and that's the hope for the Red Wings. You hope that who he takes, who he's drafted the last couple years, are gonna be those stars in the first couple rounds. And they're going to, lead the Red Wings into the next stars, and it's going to keep cycling again, like the Tampa Bay, like, the Lightning, the team that he left. And it took him a little bit, to build that team as well.
All right, Joe, what is your hope for the next 3 years for the Detroit Red Wings?
that these guys just start are stars that they drafted the last, like Snyder. I love a good, solid tough defenseman. I want him to be, a number one player. Even just Raymond, who we drafted this year, Lucas Raymond. He's a winger. He's a guy that can score. So you hope that these guys that they took the first couple rounds in the last few years are going to turn into stars and be a household name. And that's what I hope for. I mean, that's all you really can hope for, because I do feel like they still are kind of tanking with some of these older players that, why are they even in the lineup, So there's really no hope this season, but I'm hopeful for next year and the year after.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to...
It's frustrating. Like, God. like all the teams. Like, it's just frustrating. Well...
6 years down the road.
There's no hope this year, but 5-6 years maybe, if the prospects pan out, maybe it'll all come together.
Bro, we were spoiled, man. We were spoiled.
Well, that's what sucks about hockey
is
these players play on all these different leagues. You can't really watch them because, I don't have cable, but... I don't have all the channels, so it sucks that you can't watch these guys and grow up to see, hey, is this guy going to be a star in whatever league he's playing in right now, because they're not all playing for the Griffins. They're still playing in different leagues. So, what do you hope for?
My baby, man. We're going to talk about my baby, man. My hope. With the team that I think is going to break through at some point soon, and it's my Detroit basketball. I once drove out. Speaking of snowstorms, man, I once bought a ticket on StubHub for $4 in the middle of February, 4 or 5 years ago, in the middle of a blizzard, and drove out to the Palace. And was one of about 9 people in the stands and watched the Pistons beat I think it was the Philadelphia 76ers, man. By myself. That's how much I love this team, man. I love Detroit basketball. I love the Detroit Pistons. I just do. I love it, man. So that is my team. That is my team. Like, Detroit sports, my hope edition. I hope the Detroit Pistons get good again, man. I want to see LCA sell out like the Palace used to sell out, man. I want to...
Yeah, consecutive.
Oh, my God. Every night, man. It didn't matter who the team was because they sold out because the Pistons were playing, man.
Yeah.
It didn't matter who, what star, what team. Oh, is it the Lakers? Is it the Celtics? Is it the Bulls? No, the Pistons are playing tonight. So the place is selling out. That's my hope for the Pistons, is that we get back to that, man. Because, they say Detroit's not a basketball town. Screw you, man. Because in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, this was a basketball town, man. Especially in 2004. And then, so my hope segment, I got the Pistons, and I some hope I see. Hey, man, we got a guy that was just player of the week in the Eastern Conference. It's a rookie. Hasn't happened since Kelly Tripucka back in the 80s. Sadiq Bey, player of the week, in the same week that we're shutting down Blake Griffin. So I hope that Blake Griffin gets traded to a contender, and just brutal contract. It was a brutal contract when it was signed.
I mean, we kind of talked about it when it was. We all kind of knew it was. We knew he's always hurt. I mean,
it was a big. It was. Oh God! It was his owner trying to
sneak into the playoffs. For what reason? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think
this isn't like you talked about with the NHL, where you can sneak in as an 8-7 seed and get on a run. That doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen in the NBA. It does not. That's not a thing. But he just shooting T-shirts and signing terrible contracts. So until the owner's gone, is there hope? He's never going to sell the team. But I do like our.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah, if he could make money, I could see him selling it. You don't think so?
I wouldn't take that out of the question.
I don't think he's going to sell because I think he believes that this team is going to get better. And I believe this team's going to get better. I hope he keeps his dumb ass opinions out and lets Troy Weaver do his thing. Because there's one thing that is for sure, that Troy Weaver was getting ridiculed for his free agency signings. And I just read an article the other day of let's rethink the summer free agency. And Troy Weaver is getting a fucking A. Well, maybe an A-. But Jeremy Grant and Mason Plumlee are looking like gold right now. And if Weaver finds a way to get out of this Blake Griffin contract, and he gets any type of value going forward, whew, he's going to come out looking like a genius. Now, he was a wild
I don't think
man.
it's going to happen.
Well, maybe.
It depends. What do you think they're going to trade him, or do you think they're going to buy him out?
I think they want to trade him.
But they're going to get? What, would they get a first round pick for him?
Oh God, no! They're going to have to. They might have to give up a first round pick.
Give up.
Yes. I don't want that. I don't want to give up a pick either. A second round pick, maybe. I think for Blake Griffin right now, if you could send him to Boston or send him to
back to the Clippers.
Look at the Lakers, or the Lakers got Anthony Davis is going to be sitting on the bench for 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe even 5. Bring Blake in there and let him, run some things at the power forward until AD's healthy, and then once AD's healthy, Blake takes the back seat, and they go on a playoff run. The Lakers could give up. But I would like to get Kuzma. He's from Flint.
You're not getting anything.
They're trying. The Lakers are trying to get Kuzma out of there.
You're not getting anything for Blake Griffin.
You're
not getting anything.
I know they kind of so much, but maybe there could be some. Hey, there could
basketballs.
There could be some.
Some basketballs.
Some buyout on the. You could work some money out. You take some of that contract somehow. I think there's moves to be made. There's going to have to be some wizardry by Troy Weaver. But Blake's got a little bit left in the tank, especially
I don't know.
You don't think he's a good role player for a winning team, and he's a consummate professional. What he did in Detroit, when he got traded from LA to Detroit, and all he did was put that team on his back, get them into the playoffs, and at least compete with the 1 seed. That all that showed he was a professional. He's a superstar professional.
Absolutely.
He's not Blake Griffin who dunks over a Kia in the All-Star game. He's not that guy anymore. But he could have just been an asshole. He could have been like, I can't believe I'm here. I'm going to just be disgruntled. Detroit's a shit town, and I'm not going to do nothing.
Who's going to do that?
And a lot of guys would. There are, especially NBA players.
Making that much money?
Money's money and all that. There's a lot of guys that would have a contract that would be just disgruntled and just be an asshole the whole time. Blake Griffin did not.
It is
do
getting
that.
like that. It is getting like that.
And they might not show it publicly, but they can show it with their play.
Yeah.
Giving a half-ass effort.
And that is
Blake
not
Griffin
what
did
Blake
not
Griffin
do that at all.
did.
Which I love Blake Griffin for that. And it pains me that he came into Detroit sports when it was. Because he came when the Pistons were terrible, and he came when Detroit sports overall was terrible. Like, he could have been, like, a true, like, legend in this town with the performances he gave.
He was,
but it was just the wrong team, and it was the wrong time, unfortunately.
He had a good regular season run to get that team into the playoffs. And for people that like regular season Detroit basketball,
he played his heart out.
You remember that.
Yeah, you remember it. But it's just...
will remember that. Because the Blake Griffin era in Detroit is over. And I wish it would have been better. But I respect Blake Griffin.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're asking if a team is going to give up anything for him now, no. Like you're going to have to add stuff to it for a team to take on that contract.
Yeah.
You're going to probably have to eat money, and you're probably going to have to add in some draft picks.
So what?
That's crazy.
What even is better then? What would be better then? Because if you're Blake Griffin, you're opting into your
last year,
the moon. Like his contract is like the moon. Is pretty much what he has next year. Compared to if he opts out, he'll get like the first star on the Milky Way.
Yeah, he's not gonna. He's not gonna opt out.
For all my astronomer people out there, what I'm saying is, if he opts out of his player option next year, it's dumb. And nobody's going to. It's not going to happen. So you're right.
I think it's going to be a buyout.
Something is going to happen. So what? I wonder what those terms on the buyout could be, though.
It'd probably be about 60 to 70% of the contract
of this year and next year.
Of what's left, yeah.
What's due next year's? Next year's what is it? 38 million or something like that
yeah.
next year.
Yep.
And that goes. That it would still go. Whatever they buy him out for, it still goes against the cap.
I believe. Yeah.
They could do one of those. They could do it. Oh, but man.
No, because you don't want them. They don't want them
still paying
because they want to give that time to a younger player.
Yeah.
Are we still paying Josh?
It finally ended. Yeah. Josh Smith. That finally.
Yeah.
Ended.
What did it take? Like 8 years
to
pay off
ridiculous.
that contract?
It's a horrible contract.
Josh Smith, yeah. Whoo, baby. Yeah, oh, my Lord.
He made some good money to do nothing.
Jeez, man, that guy.
If you're able to get a team to take Blake Griffin's contract, like I said, you're going to have to add in a bunch of stuff.
Because, like,
and you don't want to do that.
Derrick Rose's contract
wasn't pretty much $39 million. $39 million.
30, yeah.
Next, 2001, 2002. It's 36.5.
So brutal. God.
Are you guys happy with Derrick Rose? Okay, because Derrick Rose is a similar situation. Derrick Rose came in here, never bitched, was a nice dude. He was like a coach on the floor. He seemed like a guy that would help develop players. You're not hearing bad stuff about him, and I was hearing stuff that he was helping develop guys. Like he was a good guy to have around. And Derrick Rose is former MVP. Knee troubles definitely shorted his potential in it. But I liked having him on the team, man. I'm a Derrick Rose fan. I liked that he was on the team. But he was all, he's always hurt. He's old. He's not, and he's in the twilight of his career.
You like him because he plays hard, and he's hurt because he plays hard.
But a lot of people in New York are happy, especially Tom Thibodeau, who just takes everywhere Tom Thibodeau goes. Derrick Rose seems to go. And Derrick Rose is going to be I'm surprised that New York, is New York like a team that needs that veteran push, though? I don't think New York's a piece or two away from anything.
Well, no, but they're going to make the playoffs.
You think?
He wanted to go to a playoff team.
And do what? And Dwayne Casey, now, I heard a report. Dwayne Casey, told Rose, hey, man, we're as close as the Knicks are to getting to the playoffs this year.
The Knicks are, I think, 6th right now.
Yeah, and the Pistons are
near the bottom.
Near the bottom.
But all those teams are kind of clustered up.
Dude, 6, 8. If you're not top 3 in the East, it doesn't matter.
I agree with it, but he wants to play in the playoffs. That's what it came down to. He wanted to play in the playoffs. I'm sure he would have preferred to go into a championship team, but does he get a lot of playing time on a championship team? That's another thing to consider. So, he's going to get a lot of playing time with the Knicks, and they're going to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
And he's playing at MSG every night, So I think that has a lot to do with it.
Right.
And he's playing for his former coach.
All right, so look though, man. Look. Let's stop talking. All right. Whatever we get for Blake, whatever happens with Blake, I think as a Pistons fan, we know that we respect Blake. We were happy to have Blake as a Piston. We respect Blake. When it's all said and done with Blake Griffin in 10 years after he's retired, we're going to look back and be like, hey, man, Blake Griffin was a Piston. That guy's awesome. Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is one of the best players to play in the NBA at a certain time. He was an MVP. Derrick Rose was an MVP. It was cool that he was a Piston. I'm glad that I got to go to Pistons games and see Derrick Rose play live. I'm glad that I got to go to Pistons games. I got to go to Cleveland and watch Blake play against LeBron. That was awesome. Cool. Are they Detroit legends? Are they Piston legends?
No.
Are their numbers going to get hung in the rafters? No. So the hope for the Pistons right now is you got it. Yeah, we got something. Derek Smith Jr., young dude, hasn't found his way yet, but he's like 23, 24. He was the number 9 pick in the NBA draft. What, 4 years ago? He's got potential. He's got a lot of time left. He can be really great still. I hope we get any type of return for Blake. Or we just buy him out and get some salary cap relief or something. Something has to happen with Blake. The hope, though, for me to wrap up my Pistons hope segment here, is with what Troy Weaver is doing. And I think he's doing some good things, man. He had a Wild West type, willy-nilly type free agency period. He came into Detroit and said, I'm going to do this, and this. People were like, dude, is this dude running a fantasy basketball team or an actual NBA basketball team? What is this guy doing? Things are starting to shape up, though, right? Jeremy Grant is looking like Jeremy Grant might be the best free agent signing of the last free agent period. There's a very strong possibility that Jeremy Grant becomes the best free agent signing. And Mason Plumlee is starting to look like he's doing like a solid thing too. And this team is starting to shape up. And you're starting to see a GM who has power, he has foresight, and he knows what he's doing. And there's a future here. And not only do I think there's a future in the future, I think the Pistons might make a run for the A7 seed. And the reason I say that, and don't call me dumb, because Dan, the Pistons got what, 6, 7, 8 wins?
They're 8-19. Their last.
What teams have they
Eastern
beat
Conference.
though? And this is what is wild. Who have they beat? They beat Brooklyn. They beat LA. They beat Phoenix. They beat Boston. Like, they're beating the good teams. They're showing out at times, man. And they're not getting blown out. Like, even when they lose, they're losing by a couple points. They're hanging in there, and they're beating good teams. And things are happening. And I like where this team is going. I think there's hope. I think the draft picks are playing out. Isaiah Stewart is looking awesome, man. This guy shows out every night. He's getting the Ben Wallace comparisons, and I know Ben Wallace was such a heart and soul of what the Pistons were when we were great this last time. And Isaiah Stewart kind of resembles at least a little bit of that. So Pistons fans are going to gravitate towards that. But when you watch this guy play, you see that. You see it. And you watch Jeremy Grant. And you see that you watch Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey looks damn good. This team, there's a future here. All right? And it's fun to watch. So if you haven't been watching Pistons basketball lately, what I'm going to tell you is there is hope for this team. There's hope for this team to be good. There's a core here. It's like the Wings, like the Tigers, blah, blah, blah. The state of Detroit sports is rough right now, but there's a lot of hope. in all three of these teams. Dan told you why there's hope for the Tigers, because we got a farm system that's really solid, man. There's a lot of hope for there. There's a lot of prospects. And Chris Hillich is going to get his mind right, and eventually we're going to start paying for free agents, and the Tigers are going to be winning baseball games sooner than later. Joe said that the Wings, man, Steve Eiserman is here. He's going to...
That's our hope.
He's going to
save the day.
He's going to save the day, man. The captain's back. And he's going to build a hockey team that's going to win games, man. We're going to be back in it. And
Hockey Town will be back.
And Weaver, man, Detroit basketball is back, man. If you just watch it, watch the Pistons play the next time they play tomorrow. They got a rescheduled game tomorrow against Chicago because, man, dude, it's tough. They're out there, man. All the postponed games, man. It's happening every night all over the leagues, man. But reschedule game. All I'm saying is keep an eye on our teams, man, and hope is alive, man. There's hope for our Detroit sports teams because there's some good players, man. There's some good nucleuses around, man. I don't know. Hope is alive, man. Hope is alive in Detroit. This is the Detroit Sports Sit Down. Peace.